My dear, my father called just to say your name like it still meant something. He never says much, but last night he asked if you were still breaking me. My father's voice cracked. He thinks you're the reason I don't call home anymore. You lingered in his throat like a prayer he didn't know how to say. He never liked anyone, but he liked how I smiled when I spoke about you. Last night, my father sounded scared, like he knew you had my soul. He called to say he forgave you long before I could. Your name sat between our silences like an old ghost still haunting dinner. He asked if you made me write poems again. I said no. I just bleed them now. My father said you looked lost in that photo. I said I was standing next to you. He asked if you're the one who taught me to hide my heart behind silence. My father knows the look in my eyes when someone breaks me. You still love them, don't you? That was all he said before hanging up. He doesn't believe in angels, but he called you one once, back when you loved me. You impressed my father. He doesn't even trust joy. My father asked if you still whisper to my wounds like they're children. He remembers you more clearly than I remember myself these days. My father said your name gently, like he didn't want to hurt me with it again. Was it love or survival? He asked. I didn't have an answer. My father's hands shook when he asked about you. That's how I knew it was serious. You never met him, but he still prays you find peace. He said you remind him of his first heartbreak. That scared me. My father said I look like someone who once had love ripped from their rib cage. He keeps your photo, says it's a reminder of how much I can feel. He doesn't cry, but last night he almost did when he said your name. I told him I was healing, he said. Then why does their name still tremble in your voice? You became part of family history without even staying long enough to unpack. My father said you were the first person he thought might actually stay. Your memory became a guest at the dinner table. He never talks feelings, but you broke that rule. I liked them, he said, like it was a confession. My father said nothing, and in that silence, I heard your goodbye. He asked what you did to make me vanish from myself. My father said, I saw how you loved them. That wasn't normal love. He kept asking about your eyes. I think they haunted him too. I told him I deleted your number. He didn't believe me. My father noticed my shadow was quieter since you left. They touched something in you, he whispered. Something we never could reach. He said you held me like someone who knew how to destroy softly. You broke my kid, my father said. And I think he meant it kindly. He asked if you still write I said, not to me. He doesn't know your name, but he knows your damage. My father said I walk like someone grieving a living ghost. He said you left echoes in the corners of the house. Are you safe now? He asked. I knew he meant from you. He didn't say your name. He didn't have to. He asked why I never talk about you, as if silence meant healing. They were a storm, he said, but you danced in it. My father misses the light I had when I loved you. He never said goodbye to you. Neither did I. My father's concern isn't for you. It's for what you left behind in me. Do they still hurt you? He asked. I didn't know how to lie. He said I loved you like a religion. I said, more like a curse. My father asked if I still dream of you. I said I never stopped. He called you a lesson. I still call you home. Was it worth it? He asked. I said, every scar says yes. My father never believed in soulmates until you made me believe in ruin. They don't love you, he whispered. They just don't know how to leave. My father's afraid I'll chase your ghost forever. He said you remind him of war, beautiful, necessary, and never truly over. I don't hate them, he said, but I hate what you became after them. My father knew I fell for someone who'd never catch me. He still asks if you're okay. That's how much I talked about you once. They weren't bad, he said. They were just broken. I said, so was I. My father saw love in my pain. That's how he knew it was real. He said, some people never leave, even when they're gone. My father never met you, but his heart did, through mine. You used to hum, he said. Now you just survive. I tried to change the subject. He kept circling back to your name. Why did you stay? He asked. I said, because I thought love meant bleeding. My father called you a lesson I was never ready for. He asked if you still knew how to smile. I said, only when someone's crying. They taught you to break beautifully, he said. My father thinks I forgave you. I haven't even forgiven myself yet. I liked how they made you laugh, he said, but not how they made you quiet. He asked if you ever meant to stay. I asked him what staying ever meant to someone like you. My father never liked anyone, but he respected your silence, me more than your words. He asked why I don't smile anymore. I said, because they took it when they left. They loved you strangely, he said, like you were borrowed time. He said you made me glow. I said, that was the fire before the burn. My father said your name like it was still wrapped in hope. He asked if I still ache where you used to hold me. He didn't ask if I missed you, just why I still write like I do. My father said I laugh quieter now. I didn't correct him. He said you were the reason I became a poet and a ghost. He asked if I was over you. I said, I've just learned to sit with the ache. He called you a season. I said, then why does winter still live in me? My father misses who I was before you rewrote me. He asked if you knew how much you broke me. I said, they never looked back. He said your absence is louder than your presence ever was. He told me not to romanticize the pain, but you were beautiful, even in the ruin. My father said your love was quiet. I said, so is poison. He asked why I still dream of someone who never stayed. He said you felt like home. I said, then why did I always sleep with one eye open? He never met you, but you haunt his house like you lived there. He asked if the pain made me stronger. I said, no, just better at pretending. He told me to stop writing about you, but you live in every metaphor I bleed. He said love isn't supposed to look like war. I said, you never met them. My father said you didn't deserve me. I said, I didn't want to be deserved. I wanted to be seen. He said your name like a sigh, like an old bruise aching in the rain. He never says much. But last night, he said your name like it still mattered. He asked if you ever loved me. I said, not in a way that lasted. My father thinks you were a mistake. I think you were a mirror. He said you lit something in me. I said, yes, and then left me burning. He asked if I ever told you how much I needed you. I said, every day in silence. He asked if you apologized. I said, they just disappeared like love was never spoken. He said your memory has teeth. I said, and I still feed it. He said I carry your name like a wound I won't let heal. He told me to let you go. I told him, you don't unlove someone that deep. He asked if I wanted closure. I said, I wanted them to choose me. He remembers how happy I was. He doesn't ask why I'm not anymore. He said your ghost is softer than the way you loved me. He asked what I miss most. I said, the lies I believed. He said, they were a lesson. I said, then why do I still pray for them? He said I look tired. I said, love will do that when it lingers this long. He asked why I flinch at kindness. I said, because they made love feel like survival. He said, you broke me. I said, no, they taught me how fragile I already was. He asked if I hated you. I said, no, just the version of me that begged to be loved. He said your name like an apology. I didn't tell him it still hurts. He asked if you ever said sorry. I said, they said goodbye. He asked if I still write about you. I said, every line is your shadow. He told me I deserve more. I said, I wanted them, not more. He said I speak softer now. I said, that's what heartbreak does. He asked if I forgave you. I said, only in poems I never share. He said he missed my old laugh. I said, so do I. He asked what you gave me. I said, everything I never asked for. He said your love looked like surrender. I said, it felt like drowning. He said I used to glow. I said, I used to be loved. He said, don't romanticize them. I said, I'm just remembering what I survived. He asked if you were kind. I said, only when it hurt more. He said, they weren't worth your tears. I said, then why do I still cry? He asked why I can't let go. I said, because I meant every word. He said I deserve peace. I said, they were my chaos, and I called it home. He asked what you meant to me. I said, a lesson disguised as a miracle. He said, I've changed. I said, so did they. He said you were beautiful. I said, so is fire. He asked what I learned. I said, never beg someone to stay. He said your name like it was still sacred. He asked if I'd ever love again. I said, not like that. He said, you gave too much. I said, I thought that was love. He asked if I missed you. I said, no, just the version of you I made up. He said I look older. I said, grief ages you. He asked if I'm still healing. I said, I've learned to hide the scars. He said, they didn't deserve your poetry. I said, but they inspired it. He asked why I still pause when I hear your song. He said I walk like someone who's been left too many times. He asked if I'm angry. I said, I'm just tired of pretending I'm not broken.